Bonjour. Today we get to the more interesting parts of the palace. We will explore the state apartments, the sleeping chambers of the king and the queen, and of course the famous Hall of Mirrors. When Louis XIV decided to move the center of power away from Paris, he decided on the former hunting lodge of his father, King Louis XIII, in Versailles. 15,000 people were employed, and at first the existing castle was merely embellished. But when Louis, at the age of 30, decided to move council to Versailles, the castle was further enlarged. The original castle, surrounded by new buildings, was called the Envelope. Louis tried to gather all the nobility under his watchful eye. 3,000 princes, courtiers, ministers and servants lived at Versailles by 1682, when Versailles became Louis's official residence. Over 13 years, the original building surface was enlarged five-fold. The palace, the park, and the gardens were all aligned with the sun's path. Each room was dedicated to a planet. You will later see rooms for Venus, the goddess of love, also for Diana, Apollo's sister and the goddess of hunt. And in that room was a billiard table where Louis showed off his skills 3 evenings per week in winter, between 6 and 10 p.m. Then there's the Salon for Mars, god of war, which was the largest ballroom at that time. And of course, a Salon for Apollo, god of the sun. And it is with Apollo that Louis XIV identified, and therefore he was known as the Sun King. In this room, the Mercury room, the Duke of Anjou, grandson of Louis XIV, occupied this room for 3 weeks before he departed for Madrid to become King of Spain. And that was on the 16th of November, 1700. Later, it became a games room for the royal family. So, from the Hall of Mirrors, we enter the king's chambers. And first we go through the adjoining room, or antechamber, where the king met with his counselors every day. king's bedroom was created by Louis XIV in 1701, and that's where he lived until his death on the 1st of September 1715. Now in this room, the royal rising and going to sleep ceremonies took place. On an average day, about 100 people moved in and out of the king's bedroom. Wardrobe and chamber attendants, bishops, ambassadors, provincial governors, and of course parliamentary officials. And during the day, 24 guards accompanied the king as he moved around, protecting him from the crowds at all times. And above the bed, you can see the symbol of France watching over the sleeping king. Here in the Bullseye room, called Bullseye because of the oval-shaped windows, courtiers would wait before being admitted into the king's bedroom for the awakening of the king at 8:30 every morning. At first, there was the ceremony of the small awakening and then the ceremony of the grand awakening. Here in the Queen's bedroom, 3 queens slept. First, there was Marie-Thérèse, wife of Louis XIV. Then came Marie Legenska, wife of Louis XV, and eventually Marie Antoinette, wife of Louis XVI. In the adjoining salon of the nobles is where the Queen used to hold audiences.